Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Barbie Talks. I am your girl, the Brown Barbie, your real and raw influencer, bringing you everything self-growth, beauty, of course fun stuff, of course pop culture. Today we will be once again a little more on the serious side. But if you have not yet hit that subscribe button, if you are watching on YouTube, you see my hair. We got our natural hair out, okay? We did a little spiky spike. Try to spice it up a little bit. I'll usually film a video of my makeup and what I'm wearing before the pod, but we did not do that today. But everything will be linked down below, and I will have a video on how I achieved this hairstyle, and I will do it a bit more neater next time. And as if you are tuning on YouTube, you have a shirt. I got a shirt on that says never mind. You know what? That relates to today's topic. Just never mind. But before we get into it, if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, do not forget to follow this channel so you can hear every time we post a new episode. I usually drop it on Apple Podcasts at midnight on Thursday, so you can be the first one to hear if you would like. So let's get into it today, girl, okay? So today's topic is just going to be, before we get into the topic, let's get into our quote of this episode. So the quote for this episode is by none other than Serena Williams. Oh my God, did our iPad die? Okay, no. That's what's creating our lovely mic. If you are on YouTube, we are using a mic now and not the wireless one. So, yeah, ASMR. But success is not determined by how many times you fall, but by how many times you get back up. Keep pushing, and your resilience will lead you to victory. Serena Williams in 2015. Now, today's topic is going to be, is life happening through you, or are you going through life? I think this topic is also a topic that is going to resonate a lot with me, so we might have a few pauses through this episode, as well as, you're going to see me kind of take moments, to just kind of reflect, because I'm just kind of going through, some of my own things right now. So, I'm also feeling like I'm like really under the mic, and I'm like, girl, you don't gotta be this. You don't gotta be under the mic. Which I feel like I'm kind of going through my own battles right now with that. So if you are ready to get into this episode, grab a little drink with me. I have here Sprite, B-Box, Tropical Mango, no, just Tropical, B-Box, and Sprite Lemonade, a little beverage to get us through this episode. You can get you some juice, vibe out with us, but we will have a little bit of a sip and spill this episode. So, sometimes I do feel like we can just go through life, and that basically means like we allow the things that happen, the roadblocks, the things that tell us like, no, don't keep going, stop here, the difficult times to kind of go through us and discourage us a lot. I feel like that's personally what I've been going through, which is why we have this shirt that says never mind. Once we get to the end, we'll understand why we got on never mind. Starting this podcast has been a really big thing for me. This is our 5th episode. Starting to record now more in time. So, last week's episode 4, was filmed about a week ago. So we are now filming in real time. This will be our background. This is what our vibe is going to be until I find a nice studio. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. It was just a lot for me. It was a lot for me to really start this, because I've been told a lot that I have a very powerful voice, and I started to really listen to the things that I would say when I would be on the phone with my friends, or, speaking to random people. My previous semester, my actual honors class gave me a lot of insight on how people view me and how people just look up to me in the sense of the things that I say and actually take in the information that I'm saying. So, I wanted to put this in an actual format for more people to be able to receive these messages as well. So, it's tough when you want to pursue something that is such a passion for you, or something that resonates so deeply with you, and something that you're going in with good intent, and not get upset when it is not received by the masses. And not in the sense of, because we'll go back to episode 2 when I said that validation isn't a real thing. It isn't, but the reality of our society is we all construct our society, so like we all are making this a moving part. Nobody's getting to the top if the masses aren't thinking they deserve to be at the top, or they don't like them enough. Gen Pop has way more control than we even realize. So, when you pursue a career that is so based on the masses kind of tuning in, or air quoting approving, and that's not being received well by the masses, it can get really anxious. So I was definitely very anxious with, starting this, because as you guys know, obviously I have all the equipment, I'm a YouTuber, all of these things, and not seeing my platforms grow at the pace that I wanted them to has made me feel like at times I do let life go through me. But, it is hard to keep that mentality of perseverance 24/7, and I think that's something we all negate. We want to tell everybody, keep going, keep going, push through the hard times. But like, for some people, those hard times are really dark. Some people, those hard times are really a make or break. We have so many talented people in this world that don't even utilize their talent to the max, because the judgment, them seeking the validation, there being a lack of support. And obviously that's why the pool of 1%ers, 10%ers, 20%ers are so small, and these are like really hustlers and go-getters. But I do find it such a disservice that we allow these individuals with such a great talent and such an immense feeling of just, oh my God, I want to do this, I want to give back, and we tear them down. So, in terms of just thinking, do you think that life is happening through you, or do you think it's happening, you're going through life? Like, the biggest way to assess that is really being self-aware. If you are not self-aware, you will not be able to know that. If you are not self-aware, you will not be able to know if you're going through life, or if life is going through you, just point blank period. So you have to assess, when a challenge is put in front of you, how are you reacting to that? Are you allowing it to change your perception of how you view this? Are you allowing this to shape you in a way that you don't even want to go back and retry that? Are you allowing the noise and the outside to get so much in your head that you don't even think that's an outlet for you anymore to pursue? And if that is something you're going through, just understand that that was meant for you. You were given that talent. You were given that perseverance to get through that. Like, there is a way for you to get through that, because that was for you. It is very rare to find someone exactly like you in this world. Everyone has their own gifts and talents for a reason, because I do believe we each were put into this world to do something, and it is sad that a lot of people are not able to fulfill their dreams, live out their dreams, or even pursue things that they genuinely want to do. But I feel like the sooner we learn that those ideas, those business ideas, those thoughts, your voice, how you move your body, how you speak in a room, how you think of financial situations, how you calculate things, how you write, your way to articulate a story and captivate people, how you're able to paint on a canvas and tell a story. That was meant for you. Yes, there are a million artists. Yes, there are a million singers. Yes, there's a million accountants. Yes, there's a million CEOs. Yes, there are many entrepreneurs, but they are not you. So now on the flip side, I do feel like the people that they're going through life wholeheartedly understands that logic. Like, this was meant for me. This was my path. Nothing is going to stop me from getting this goal because this was meant for me. So, if you feel like you are having a hard time grasping, not only figuring out where you lie on those two subjects and those two paths, because they are two different paths. It's a Y street. You can either be as resilient as you can be. Actually, I wouldn't even say that, because I do think that there's a time where people do choose that field of, I'm going to go through life, I won't let it go through me, and they hit that mountain. They hit many people that travel on the road less traveled get it very hard. They experience life in ways that people could never fathom. And I think as I open up more and share more of, my stories, I think once I reach a point of what I deem successful, or at least the point where it's like, okay, girl, you getting there. You really are getting there. I think a lot of my roadblocks, people would be very surprised at. I think a lot of people would be like, wow, I don't even know how you went through that. And that's not just me. That's everybody. I am a firm believer that no matter how much you want to say it, we can never be in someone else's shoes. You want to know why? Because stepping in someone else's shoes and going through their life, if you're actually jumping into their body, you need their mentality. You got to jump into their mind. Because if you go into someone else's shoes with your mentality, you're not going to be able to take every single thing. You won't. And you won't be able to experience the life they're experiencing because you're looking at it through your own perception. But if you, now say if we were able to, in air quotes, actually jump into someone else's body and walk through life with our own conscious eyes, but have their mentality, their thoughts in their mind, and go through you couldn't. The mind is a very powerful playground that is still being understood. 3 million years we have been studying the brain. There's so many things that are just really guesstimated. So I say all that to say that we all have our own story. We all have our own journeys. We all have our own roadblocks. So, just don't judge people on how fast they're going with their goals, how fast they're moving with their things, how fast they aren't doing something, or what they should and shouldn't be doing, because you just don't know what they're going through, and it is just not your story. We see so many people, even that reach this level of status or fame or success or something we deem successful, still not being given their flowers in their career. Many people have to pass away, have to die, for people to be like, this was a great person. They did great things. Do you know how insane that is? And back to episode 2, which is why you really can't rely on validation. from other people because it's just so subjective. If you know you're doing your shit, you know you're doing your good work, and you know that you are really making a change in this world, you know that. But I know, hang on with me. I know I'm like really teeter-tottering two different topics, but this is all going to come to a full circle moment. Give that person, not only do you need to give yourself grace, you being that person, and then you also need to give that person grace if you are outside looking in. But as you guys see, this whole thing of life is not black and white. So it will be very difficult for you to see if life is going through you or you going through life, because at times you're going to have time where you're going through life, and there's going to be times where life is going through you. But the biggest thing that I can say, and the biggest piece of advice, would be really being self-aware of your actions. Being very self-aware of how you're showing up in this earth. Being very self-aware if, are you aligning? Are you in alignment with what you're saying? Are your actions aligning? Is your mind even aligning? Personal example with me, and we will dive deeply into this when we speak more about relationships. I know that is one of the topics we have not tapped into yet, but before we hit episode 10, we will be covering that. My thought process and foundation with these first episodes, these first 10 episodes, I really kind of want to cookie cutter and grab every topic so you guys can get a baseline of where I'm coming from, so then when we incorporate guests or we get into deeper topics, you're already knowing like, okay, well, this is her mindset on this, so she's going to be swayed this way, or, you know, kind of get a gist of me as a person and my thoughts, so you can kind of get to see if, you know, I hope this is a place you call home and something you tune into every Thursday, but, you know, to see if this is your tribe, to see if I'm part of your people, see if messages that I could possibly say can possibly resonate with you. You know, I want you to feel like you're supposed to be here. And I want you to feel that this is valuable content you are taking in. But, of course, I got on a tangent with that. But, you know, I really do mean that. I really do want y'all to be wanting to be here and really enjoy this podcast, but you have to be self-aware. I think that would probably be the basis of all of my episodes. You have to be very self-aware of everything. Point blank in the period. I think a lot of people want to sugarcoat the wrong things. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to sugarcoat, oh, I don't want to say this, I don't want to say that. But no one's talking about how you need to be self-aware. You can never even know what you're supposed to do in this life if you're not self-aware. You can never know if something is for you or not if you're not self-aware. You can't date intentionally if you're not self-aware. You can't date yourself intentionally if you're not self-aware. You can't be the most successful person you can be if you are not self-aware. And I don't know why that's something not talked about enough or not addressed enough, but you have to be self-aware. You have to be in a very candid mindset with yourself. And although how you speak to yourself is very important and you need to have positive self-talk, you also need to leave room for being 100 with yourself. You're letting life go through you right now. You are letting the opinions of others get to your head. You are letting the noise of the outside world get to you. Yes, girl. Yes, man. I know it's justifiable. It's hard out here, but where do you want to be? What mark do you want to leave on this world? What do you want to provide to the society that scope, that vision has to be so much bigger than the noise below it? And that step comes with being self-aware. And as you get more self-aware and more in tune with yourself, you'll start to see a lot of the things are like, I don't know about this. I don't know how I feel about this. Or, maybe this really isn't for me. And I feel like that's how you'll naturally start to go through life. I kind of feel like now after saying that, you going through life isn't you just constantly being resilient. You going through life is being candid with yourself and really figuring out your path and being flexible and adaptable and going with the punches. And sometimes you're going to have those days where it's just like, I don't want to get out of my bed. And some days you're going to have them days where you want to be super productive, crazy productive, but those low days don't mean that life is going through you. I do think life will only go through you if you choose to be compliant. If you choose to constantly be comfortable, if you choose to constantly dismiss the loud signs and the voices and everything that's happened and just choose to ignore that. I think that's when life would be going through you. But if you are listening and you're wondering if life is happening through you or are you going through life, truly your two assessments can be, am I self-aware? And am I being compliant with my life? Am I settling? And just that alone will just really take you far. And our TNT question for this episode, yes, we have reached the midpoint of our episode. Once again, do not forget to hit the subscribe button on YouTube, as well as follow this channel on Apple Podcasts and hear the ASMR of our new microphone. But all jokes aside, our TNT question, tell the truth question is your perspective on your goals and on life conclusive or in alignment with your goals? I'm going to say that one more time. Is your perspective on life conclusive or in alignment with your goals? And I want you to take a second to really let that sit in your head. And are your actions following suit with how you should be treated in life? What you should be doing in life? The talents that you have, are you doing those? Are you following that lead? Are the things that make you happy inside, are those things you're doing every day? Are those things you're monetizing? Is the advice you give your friends, do you take that advice? And I can be very transparent with you guys. I'm in a season where I'm really forcing that alignment and mentality to align. Those thoughts in my actions for them to align seamlessly. And it is not easy. It is not easy. I had actually made a note, and I will make this a full episode, but I feel like this is the perfect time to slide this in. But I actually had wrote in my notes this thought. Hopefully I could find it, because wow. I have a lot of great ideas on my notes, so I can't wait for you guys to hear that, and I hope that you appreciate these topics as well. But I said, we're trained to be conscious for society, not for our own selves, which is why it's hard for us to change our perspective. Even if you want to change it, it takes a lot of self-discipline. And I feel like that's where I'm at right now. I've been so conditioned to look at things a certain way, walk a certain way in life, be a certain way in life, talk a certain way in life, think certain things are like a specific goal, and it's like, no, that's not real. That's what I've been conditioned to think. What is real is what's in my head, what I'm thinking, what I know is morally right, what I believe is morally right, what my conscience is saying. And guess what? Once I start to align with my conscious thoughts and my actions, the level of trust I will have in myself will be unshakable, which will result in more confidence, more opportunities, these doors to open that I want to open, these places that I know I should be. Now I'm just walking in them feeling like, okay, what's next? And not in a condescending way or cocky way, but just knowing like this is home. And I think it's such a disservice that that conditioning is symmetrical with why we are not able to be aligned with our own thoughts and our own goals. Point blank, period. We are so conditioned, whether it's even if you want to, say for instance, you want to stand in your worth and you want to set boundaries with people, but you have just been taught that you've been taught or conditioned or you've been in an environment where you are such a people pleaser. Yeah, you know deep down inside you need to set boundaries and you know you deserve more than this or you deserve more than that. You deserve more than people coming in and out of your life or not showing up for you the way they should. But yet this comfortability that society has conditioned us to think is comfortable and that is right is now limiting you from stepping into that. And when you do step in that, when someone's like, I don't, you're like, hey, I don't really like that. And someone reacts so big, you're just like, oh, I should just stay quiet. And it's like, but why? Do you understand how absolutely insane it is when we feel so horrible for standing on our boundaries and standing in for where we want to be, standing up for ourselves, advocating for ourselves, being where we know we should be and living in that every day? Do you know how crazy that sounds that we even feel guilty for that? But it's like we do so many things unconsciously that we're not even realizing it's not in alignment. And that we're not even realizing how crazy it sounds. Because like you can say it out loud. It's like, oh yeah, I know my worth. I know this. But then someone crosses that boundary or someone says something and you're like, oh, like, okay, I'll just let it in. Like, I hope you guys are getting what I'm saying and not taking it so surface level and so like, well, I don't do that. Like, I check somebody. I always check somebody. It's not talking about if someone talked to you sideways. It's not referring to surface level things. It's, are you setting appropriate work boundaries? Are you setting boundaries with your family? Are you even setting boundaries with yourself? Are you setting boundaries that are now aligning with your goals? Which in result will allow your perspective to come to life, your goals to come to life, because everything is in alignment. But like I said, we have been conditioned in this society to make everyone else feel comfortable, that we just put ourselves at the bottom of the totem pole all the time. And isn't that insane? It's insane to me. But it's like how we walk in the earth, we don't move like that's crazy. It's a thing that hopefully as we go with this pod, I will be able to say even more clairvoyantly and more, just that's the word, more clairvoyant, more where it's coming across and I'm able to deliver it in different style messages and everyone is able to receive it that is ready to receive it in the proper way, because we do such a disservice to ourselves when we constantly want to make everyone else feel comfortable. Like, it's crazy. And then the gag is, don't it be so crazy when you do set that boundary with someone, you check and you're like, nope. or you even check yourself. It's like they try to make you feel guilty about it, and it's like, hold on. Why? Why? Like, why are you upset that, like, I know that I deserve more than this? I'm setting a level of respect that you need to follow, and now you're upset because I'm setting a boundary with you. I'm setting a pedestal that you have to now hit, and that you don't want to go to that pedestal. That's insane. But you want to know why? Because those same people are unable to do it for themselves. We are all battling so many different things, and it shows its head. That's all I'm going to say. We'll talk about that in another episode, but we are all struggling with our own things, and it shows. They show in different ways. It comes out in different forms, and we'll also speak on another episode about how we are a product. Not only that we are a product of our environment, that's obvious, but life is a mirror. Life is a mirror, and you simply reflect what you give out. But that's a whole episode itself, so excited to dive into that. But, ending off, I think, just to wrap everything back around, the truth is you are closer to your goal than when you started. And that's just a fact. I started my YouTube off. I cringe when I watch my first episode. I cringe. Because didn't know how to edit. Music so loud. Not even non-copyright music. Literally put them in part 1, part 2 for the simplest video. But I gave that example to say, like, look at me now. Just look at me now. And not saying you need the high-tech gear, the mic, the camera, the this, the that. Oh, no, you don't. But you evolve. Once you put your mind to your craft and that this is something you want to be a goal, and you're putting to this a certain level that you want to reach, you evolve. You naturally evolve. You got to start to learn how to edit. You got to know how to pick up your quality. You got to know how to do this. You got to know how to do that. It's just natural, evolving. As humans, we evolve. Therefore, our craft will evolve as well. So just really understand, if you are struggling with figuring out if you're going through life or is life going through you, or you are just struggling mentally, and also don't take the word struggling with a negative connotation. Like, we're all struggling with our own battles, and that's okay. And, every day you wake up is a blessing. And also every day you wake up, cheers to you. It can get really dark sometimes. So, the fact that you're able to get up and push for your goals every single day, or just you get up and wash your butt, that's better than nothing. So just understand, if you are someone who is trying to achieve a goal that is big, whether it's on social media, whether it's a business, whether it's a personal goal, mental goal, small goal, whatever it may be, a career goal, just understand, the road may seem silent or may seem like things aren't changing, but you are closer than when you started. When it was just a dream, when it was just I kind of wish I could do that. It's kind of look at me now. I'm trying. I'm staying in that. I'm trying to get to that place. You know what I mean? So I just got off the phone with my grandpa, and he told me, take everything with a grain of salt. And I'm the type of person, very transparently, I hate when people say stuff like that. I hate when people say, oh, let it roll off your back, let it this. But, it is true. Some things you do have to take with a grain of salt, because there's so much that goes on behind the scenes people don't even know. People don't even know. The bunk a half of it, a quarter. So just understand, even if you are not receiving job offers, or things are not turning in your favor the way you want it to, or you're not hitting certain milestones, you are way closer. Keep pushing, keep persevering. Just like Serena Williams said, success is not determined by how many times you fall, but how many times you get back up. Keep pushing, and your resilience will lead you to victory. And also, your resilience will speak for you. A lot of people have respect for people that have an unshakable, like, I want this. This is my goal. This is my thing. People respect that, and people will see that. Even though it might not seem that people are kind of like seeing what you're doing, or you don't feel like you're making progress with your goal, people are seeing you. People are really peeping what you're doing. You know what I mean? So just remember, everything's subjective, all right? Everything. When I say everything, I mean everything, okay? We really have to say it like that. Everything is subjective, so just keep pushing with your goals. Just keep doing check-ins with yourself. Keep being self-aware, and just keep actively working on yourself and striving to hit that next level of what you deem success. Learn to tune out the outside noise. Learn to take things with a grain of salt, sadly, and understand that your time is coming, and life will eventually turn around. I don't typically like saying that, because I do feel like it's a little insensitive to people that are really struggling with hard hitting and heavy emotional things. But there are ways. I just utilize your resources. No matter where, at what point you are in your life, we're just going to speak on career-wise and just goals on terms of career, personal goals, or financial goals. Just utilize your resources. Utilize YouTube, utilize people selling ebooks, you ain't hear it from me, but you can get every book for free on a PDF. If you got an iPhone, Android, you have some type of access to an electronic device, don't choose to be compliant. There are a lot of resources out there to even just maybe answer your question. You never know. You might read one book, one line in a book, or search something up, and that might be the change that changes your life. That could be the one thing that resonates with you, that takes you to another level and takes you to the place you want to be. So utilize your resources, utilize YouTube, utilize being able to get PDFs of these very popular books online, and utilize yourself. We are way stronger, and we are way more knowledgeable than we think. I'm currently working on meditating and getting more in tune with the voices. Well, that kind of sounded crazy, the voices inside my head, but getting in tune with my subconscious and honing in on positive inner talk with myself, and just honing in on those things that I feel like are hindering me from my growth. So just understand, I wouldn't even say it's a long game, because I feel like if you say it's a long game, then like you set yourself up for being a long game. It is just a work in progress. You just have to work. You have to work in various ways. Even if you want to be the best manifester, you got to learn how to manifest. You got to learn how to walk every day with a positive mind and only speak positivity. That's something you have to train yourself to do. So, just be prepared and open to train yourself. Just go in with things with a clear mind, that you don't know anything, and that you're, ready to turn this new leaf. It's going to be scary. It's going to be very uncomfortable at first, very transparently. You're probably going to lose a lot of people around you that you think are close to you, friends, family, but just understand that it is all happening for a bigger reason, and you are slowly probably getting more and more aligned with your purpose. So take everything day by day. Understand you are closer to your goal than when you started. Understand that life is not always going through you. For the most part, you are probably going through life. And take everything day by day. You just listening to this pod is you wanting to change a new leaf, wanting a better life for yourself, wanting to become your best self, and wanting to strive for those goals that you've always wanted but felt like they were so far away. Take today as your fresh start. Take today as your new day. Take today as it don't matter what happened in the past. It don't matter what happened behind me. Today is the day I choose to change. Today is the day I choose to become that person I know I can be. Today is the day where it all changes. So thank you guys so much. I try not to get emotional because I just really, I hope no one even thinks this emotional is fake either, because I really just hope that message resonates with a good amount of people, because we all have so much. It's not even potential. We have it to be successful. We have it to reach that level. It's just the noise of the outside can really stop us, and it's just such a disservice. It is just, we do ourselves such a disservice when we do that. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of Barbie Talks. I hope you enjoyed. I hope some messages resonated with you. I hope you were able to kind of follow along with me. I know at times we kind of hopped around from different subtopics. I really, really hope you enjoyed this episode. Once again, if you are watching on YouTube, you see why we had to share never mind. Because at first I was going to say I feel like life's going through me, but never mind. Because we're here, we showed up, we're on episode 5. 500 more to go, 5 million more to go, 5,000 more to go, forever and eternity to go. Thank you guys so much for your unconditional support. Do not forget, even if you are tuning in on YouTube, to tune in on Apple Podcasts, leave a review, and leave a little review so I know you're listening, but also follow the channel. And if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, do not forget to hit the subscribe to my YouTube channel. Not only do we have the visual content for each episode, but you also can get a glimpse of my life. I have some vlogs up there. Not any super new vlogs at this point in time, so don't judge a girl. But, you can enjoy, laugh, see some fun things. This was another episode of Barbie Talks. Thank you guys so much, and bye.